So this deck profile is going to be followed by a Hercule deck profile, and this one and as well as that one are both kind of conceptual, but I think they both work and they have their own sort of weaknesses and strengths. And the thing about these deck profiles and just any deck that you build, they will always have their own strengths and weaknesses. I want to preface that. And the way that you build it is the way to cover its own weaknesses, and it's not necessarily one leader that's better than another or one deck that's better than another. It's just the way that you play it, and as well as the cards that support their own deck. So I'm gonna throw that out there. So if this one doesn't work or another way that doesn't work, you know, it's always good to just keep trying. Anyway. So let's get into this one real quick. So this one is the new draft box leader, Bardock. It replaces the other Bardock, but I mean you can really use either one. But this one is a choose one from your choose one of your opponent's battle cards with your 3 or less and switch it to rest mode. The other side is no restriction, but it's the same exact thing, just chooses to rest mode. So this is also a draw 2 cards and flip over. I think the other one is an active 2. I want to say the other one is active 2. I just, you know what? Why not just check? I mean, he's right here. Yeah, he is an active 2. So, pretty cool. But this one does have draw a card when you attack a leader, and the other one only is restricted to the flip side. So the way that I went for this is a lot of different ways, and I'm gonna let you know what you can substitute and what to kind of look out for. And now that it's actually laid out, I can kind of see where the opportunities are. But this is my version of the build, and there's a lot of different versions that I kind of went through, and I'll explain that. So you can see here there's only 10 red and there's 40 yellow, so pretty yellow dominant in general. The opening hand that you really want for this one is a Kaba. I've had a lot of different issues when it came to playing this deck, and as well as a couple other variants, where I would be I would either be stalled out or I wouldn't have too much draw power. So there is a lot, like I said, I've went through a lot of different like versions of this, and the first one I went through was a red, sort of a half and half red and yellow dominant deck, where these cards were still here, but I had also the promo Vegeta that they take 1 life after they KO a card, or he KOs a card. I also had Vado's Assistance instead of Flying Nimbus, and then a few other things like Rushing Warrior Pan for draw, and I think the Goku for draw too. It's just that it just didn't work out too well when other people stalled you out, or they didn't really have anything on the field. So I went and switched this to regular apes in the way of making sure that you can build your own field, and as well as take control and use of his ability. So the first thing is a Kaba. So again, when it attacks, you choose 1 card from your life and then add it to your hand, and it gains 10,000 double strike. Again, this is really good for early game because sometimes they just will not attack you. It just won't happen. That's why we have the Kaba, and that's why we have the Son Goku. So this one, if your leader is yellow, you play this in rest mode and then choose 1 from your life. You don't have to choose it if you don't want to, but it does add to your hand. So both of these cards give you draw, and they also help you self-awaken. Both very, very, very important things. Now, the other thing is the other Gohan. So this Gohan, and as well as this Gohan, and as well as this Goku, are all Shigesh targets. I really don't Shigesh anything else other than these guys, and as well as maybe King Vegeta, so that way you can combo in, and I'll explain that. But this one, when the card attacks, you may draw 1 card, and if you didn't engage double strike, most of the time you will be drawing a card. It's only 15k, but it does work out. Same thing for this guy, and I kind of want to run 4 so that way I can pump up the red, maybe 4 of these guys, and reduce something else. But it's really about your preference and your playstyle. And again, I went through a lot of different versions of this, and it took me a while to understand where Bardock is in the meta, and as well as what works. And for Miraculous Comeback Gohan, he does have double strike, 25,000. And if you have 3 or less cards in your hand, which you will in this deck, I'm telling you, you will have not too many cards in your hand. You reduce it by 4. So what happens is that even if you have 4 cards in your hand, you can Shigesh, and then now you have 3 or less, and then now this becomes a 2-drop. In that turn, you can go ahead and play him for Shigesh, and then you have a 10k combo for whatever else. I mean, sometimes you would go for Kaba, and that way you can self-awaken and then draw 2 more, you know, whatever you want to do. Because sometimes what we can do is rest one of these, rest on this unawakened side, summon Kaba, and then attack if you have 5 life, and then draw 1, awaken, draw 2, and then rest another one. And you have a choice of either summoning the Toras, because now they have 2, you can play this guy for free, and then you can Shigesh into a Gohan, attack, and most of the time they're not going to be able to, well, I mean, they might, but then they're going to be wasting cards, and then they can take 2 damage. So you can do some good plays just in general. It just takes a little bit of time to do that. Flying Nimbus, pretty self-explanatory. I think any yellow deck should have a Flying Nimbus. I think it is still one of the most powerful. I think it's the most powerful card for counter, for on a defensive side, other than Whis. And Whis is the second powerful, most useful utility. And then we have all the new tournament power counters, and those are going to change a few things, but I think Flying Nimbus right now is probably one of the best counters. Again, I used to use Vados in more of an aggro sort of way, but I tapped out too much, and if they clear my board, then there's not too much I can do. Also, if they have a clear board, there's not too much I can do. So this is why I went through this sort of process. Planet Vegeta, you choose 1 Saiyan 4 or less. Most of the time it's going to be Shigesh, or not Gohan, but this other Gohan, maybe another Tora. And yeah, it's really up to you. But this is very important, so that way you can get your apes up, and as well as just having on the field just in general. Youthful Velma is very important because, again, this does not have any kind of draw power. Maybe if you went like blue yellow or green yellow, maybe even, you would have a little bit of better advantage as far as that goes. But to me, I think this is a really good turn 1 card just to play, and that way you can just have some draw. Tora. So the reason why I went through this and went to Tora instead is because time and time after another, I encounter a lot of different decks where they play 1-drops or attacked with, I don't know, like a 2 or 3 drop or critical or something stupid. And again, if you have him and rest him, and then they attack with something else, you can play this guy for free. And what I've done in the past is that I actually had 2 of these guys on the field at the same time. So I had 2 in my hand, they got rested, and on my turn, I played 2 of him. And then I actually had 2 Toras in my hand, and then I played March, and then I drawn 2, and I drew 1 more Tora, and I also had King Vegeta on the field, and now he becomes a free combo, evolve into that target. And for the Tora, again, since you rest so much with this leader, it's just built in, you get to KO 1 of their cards in rest mode. So if I had to replace something, I would give this more like another 1-drop, like Russian Warrior Pan for more red, and then replace this guy for whatchamacallit? I'm trying to think of it. Oh, Great Ape Prince Vegeta, the critical blocker that has 20,000, I think. Since he is a 4 or less, and you can't play him with March. So that would be the main change I would make, and maybe even put Explosive Spirit Son Goku into either the promo Vegeta or the Vados. So again, this is really depending on what direction you want to take, and it really depends on what you want to do, right? So it's all up to you. But in my opinion, this works because it is so much sort of a control deck in general, and it just worked out for me. So Shigesh needs no introduction. The god, 10k combo that summons a Saiyan from your hand in 3 or less. Also, by the way, the King Vegeta does give him a barrier too, so if anything happens, he's usually not affected. No opening Son Goku. Very, very, very important to have some self-awakening. If you don't have the Kaba, and you do get to play him for free, well, for one anyway, into rest mode. And if you are playing the Vados, you can counter, put him to active, and then do it again until you awaken. Same thing for Kaba. So that way you don't have to actually attack, you just have to play the guy, because you can play him from the field for 1, and then take 1 life afterwards. And Explosive Spirit Son Goku, I was actually on the fence of putting him into this deck. I might actually take him out, mainly because the whole deck premise is that you control the field. No, and it is controlling the field if you do KO the cards. But at the same time, since Tora is there, you can play him for free, or with March, because when you do actually, or not March, when you actually have King Vegeta and then evolve him through comboing, you can still KO and do that. So sort of a better thing, because if you have Planet Vegeta, it goes right back to active. I mean, I low-key want to play, I don't know if you guys, because most people don't run him. I will let you know, most people don't run him because he is a 5-drop. The Rampaging Great Ape Son Goku, he is a critical blocker, and he also, when he does get evolved into this card, because it costs 4, you can choose one of the opponent's energy into when it is in rest mode, and it can't turn active until the start of your next turn. So one of the things that I think is very useful, and it just depends on your play, but because the meta, you can't see my my thumbs, but because of the meta, tapping out and as well as getting to 4 energy and using all of it with trying to protect him just for that can be a little costly. So using Explosive Spirit and Son Goku is a little bit better, and just in case you're going against a Kale or going against like just regular threats in which will be attacking you like critical. So Shigeshing and right into Explosive Spirit Son Goku can win a lot of matches. Lord of the Great Apes, King Vegeta. So when you play him, you can get a 5 or less Great Ape. So the only targets are going to be these guys. I also had, like I said, the again, you can evolve on either one of these guys, by the way, if you do run the Great Ape Son, or the Childhood Great Ape Goku, and you can choose him. Generally, you're going to be getting him. That's the only reason why I run 3 instead of 4, because he is usually a dead card if he's already on the field, unless you get Xeno'd or something else like that. If he's on the field, then that's all you really need to do. You don't have to attack him until you're trying to end the game. And again, Tora is the choice for me instead. He is a blocker for 20,000. And again, if you evolve for 1 or for free with King Vegeta, you get to evolve on this guy. And then March of Great Ape, you choose 2 Great Apes, OP card, very, very good card. And then it's a 4 cost. You probably will just summon these guys. I mean, that's usually what happens. You can turn a game around pretty quick as far as that goes. And then draw 2 cards. And then Great Ape King Vegeta, he does have double strike, all yellow Saiyans gain barrier, and then reduce combo cost of all Saiyans in your card. So that includes this guy, and as well as this guy, which he's already 0, so never mind. And as well as yeah, so Gohan as well. So they all have free combo costs with this guy on the field. So very, very important you keep him. He's like the electric generator for your power. I don't know where I was going with that. But this is the build that I'm going with. This is what works for me. Again, red, a little scarce. I would probably add another playset of red, like I said, Rushing Warrior Pan, so that way you can have more opportunity to use it for energy. But again, these guys are targets for Shigesh. This guy is just only a 1-drop red, so if you get this guy or this guy early in the game, then you play him and then play him and you'll be good. Most of the time, if you play him and you take the life, it's generally the time where you're going to be awakening. So you're going to be using him once, and if you do have more than 1 in your hand later on, then that's even better, because you can have late game pressure just for a 1-drop. Very, very useful. Already a staple. I've explained this in other decks. But So far I've had pretty good success with this. I would like to get other people's opinions. I like to see other people's builds. I've seen a good amount, but not too much when it comes to the Bardock. I don't think he's very popular right now. I don't know, but I do see him from time to time. And if you're going to be playing this deck or something similar to it, you're going to want the Kaba, you're going to want the Planet Vegeta, you're going to want the Youthful Bulma for your first turn plays, or even no openings Son Goku. These guys are more mid-range. This guy is more of a late game. This guy is more mid-range. So on and so forth. And this guy is more mid-range too. I mean, again, so should guess target, or you can play him for 2 red. But you already know about my changes. You already know about my would-be updates. But that is it for this guy. I might update this guy as far as a different deck, but I'm really playing these other decks. I got this deck, or this promo Goku who takes 1 life, engage double strike deck coming along. I really want to play him more often. And right after this, I'm going to be doing the Hercule deck as well. So take a look out for that. Let me know what you think. Subscribe if you're new, and if you are already, thank you again. And I'll see you in the next one. Later.